Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. In this one, we want to make a slider plugin because most websites do have sliders on the home page. That's just kind of the standard now. So we're going to make a slider here now because this is not a CSS or HTML tutorial. This is about PHP. We're not going to create the slider from scratch. We're just going to use an online slider generator. And so we can see how to convert that into an actual plugin we can use for our system. Now, an example would be something like this. So this is a home page for some other work, and there's a slider here with a couple of images. So you can play and pause over here, click on things and such. Why did it click like that? But the main thing I want you to see is the admin section here. If we go to slider images here, this is where we add those images. So those images are not hard-coded here. You can add them in the admin area here. So depending on which slider you are on, there's a different image, and you can click to upload that particular image. That makes things a bit easier. Here you can put a title and some slider description, and of course maybe a link. I don't know why there's no link here somehow. A link should be part of this, and surprise, surprise, it isn't. Because sometimes you want your users to be able to click on the image that they see, and then it leads them to a particular place. Okay, so this is something that we want to create, something very similar to this on our own here. Alright, so of course we want to start by creating a plugin. So we're going to use our command line tool, and like we've done before, let me clear this here. So you have to navigate to your actual I forget to mention to new viewers that this is an ongoing series, so you have to watch the previous videos in the series to understand what's going on here. Okay, so we want to go to the project folder here, and we are at the project folder here because this project is inside XAMPP htdocs plugin.php, and in here we want to run a PHP file called thunder that we generated. That's our command line tool, and we want to make a plugin. So we say make plugin like that, and then what folder should we create for that plugin? And the folder will be called slider, of course. You can call it whatever you want. So press enter, and plugin created successfully. Very nice. Alrighty then, so let's go ahead and check what was created. So if we go to our project folder, let me just close all files here. Alright, so we have our plugins folder. Let's close that. We should have a slider plugin over here. Awesomeness. So now if I were to refresh my project, you'll see there is a plugin here, and it is active regardless what page I am on. Yep, just like that. Okay, so let's solve those problems first. So I'm going to go to our config because that's where we should always start. Let's configure this to give it a proper name. So slider. Now here you can put description as well. That's something I keep forgetting. Description like that, and then you make a description to describe your plugin. And probably we should add this to the Thunder folder inside samples, where there is a plugin sample, no, the config sample here. Config sample JSON. Yep. Version number, ID, then you can put a description somewhere here. Something like so. And let's put emptiness here. Just as one of the defaults. Ah, great. Excuse me. Okay, good. So we have slider. We need an ID here, something unique. in this case, slider. Now you could call it basic slider so that you can differentiate it from an advanced slider or something like that. That's entirely up to you what you name this. Just keep in mind that plugins should have unique numbers, unique IDs, sorry. Okay, so author, just put your name there. You can put your website. We haven't dealt with thumbnail.jpg, but we will eventually when we create our plugin manager. And now on the routes, this thing should only run on the home page. So we're just going to say home like that. Does it depend on anything? Well, you could make it depend on the home page. So we can say something like homepage plugin. Where is this? Yeah, there it is. Version 1, of course. So let's do this. We're going to say 1.0.0. Something like this. Okay, cool. So if I now come back to this and refresh, it runs on the home page, but nowhere else. Yep, nowhere else except the home page. Awesomeness. So we want the slider to be here. Now, of course, like I said, excuse me, we're not actually going to make the slider. We're just going to say online slider maker on Google to try and find something here. Okay, now there are several of these. It's entirely up to you to choose which one you want. The one I normally use is image slider maker here. Not that it's better than any of these others, it's just the thing that I stumbled upon some time back and I haven't changed since. And because they don't need you to log in or sign up to have an account to download this stuff. So this is the one I use. It's called imageslidermaker.com. So there it is. So here, this is just a description of how you use the thing. If you click on Get Started Now, it should take you to the main page where you design your thing. Alrighty. So once you're done designing, you can just download the zip file over here. Now, you can just download the zip file over here with what's currently here. If you don't mind, this is a slider right now. You can also click on preview my slider or something. Full width, let's try full width, background color, white. Show me that slider. So this is how the slider looks like. Okay, so there are 3 of these images, depending on how many you want. Now these don't really matter because you can always just extend them. So not a big deal if you get only 3. You can always just add more as you wish later. Okay, but the things you may want to change are how these buttons look, these things. Do you want a caption there, etc., etc. What is the width of the thing? Is it full width? And so on. So pixel or percent. Do you want the corners rounded or square? Let's try the square versions. So this is about dimensions. If you want to add more of these, you can just click the plus sign here. Now we have 4 of these going on here. Yeah. So let's come back here, go there. Okay, pretty cool. And if you don't like the text that's here, you could switch it off. Wait, what is this? Stretch image to slider width and height. That squishes the image. Nope. Where it was just fine. And then you can choose whether you want the images to be cropped from the center, the top, or the bottom. We'll keep with center here. Okay. So if you can edit the JavaScript later, that's even a plus. So let's look at the images. You could change the images here as well. I can select a different image over here like that. Now there's a different image here. If I go to number 1, this is the image that's there. I could add a different one just by clicking that image and so on and so forth. What else? Let's see here. The important stuff only. The buttons, you can remove them by clicking off here if you don't like those buttons. forward. If you want this to loop continuously, there's that place for looping. Now, please spend time and deal with the settings here. Do you want a link on those? So let's add a link. Here there's link, new tab, just a link to something else, or in a new tab. Let's do that. We want these things to link somewhere. So I'm going to do this. Now, keep in mind that for every image here, you have different settings here. So you have to go through all the images and change those settings as needed. Where is that looping thingy? Okay, so for the shape of these, if you want rounded ones, you can click here. Now they are rounded. That format or this format, that's entirely up to you. What is this? Just hover on something to check what it's about. Center align, that's fine. Where is that looper? That's the thing I am trying to look for so that this thing can loop continuously. Where is it? Then you can select the name of your element. I'll leave it with my slider. That's for the CSS, I guess. But where is the loop? What does this do? Chevron. Okay, so these are the shapes of the arrows here. You can use that, this. What about this? This is for... right. Or none. Okay. So those are the options you have. The speed here of how the thing moves, the transition speed, you can, do you want it to slide or do you want it to fade? So that instead of sliding, maybe they can fade. Let's leave it on fade. Oh, there is the looper thingy. If I click on loop, then it tells me it will be looping forever. And you can choose the speed, slow, medium, very fast. Okay, so once you're done and happy with the settings, you can preview your slider by clicking here again. Show me this slider. So this is the one we've created and looks great, So if you want, actually, you can just download it from here by just checking the page source and getting whatever linked JavaScript files are there. But we just click download zip instead. So here it shows you the zip content, I guess. Or does it? Use the button download now. Okay, so there we go. So image slider maker, there we go. Now all we want to do is cut that file and paste it where we need to paste it. So inside the slider here, I'm going to open, this is the slider plugin, and paste that folder. Very good. Okay, so let's organize things a little bit. First of all, I'm going to extract to image maker, like so. Okay, so now we have a new folder here that contains stuff. Inside there's this, and then inside that there is this. So CSS, image, JavaScript, okay, the usual suspects. But here we have an example HTML file, which is awesome. So, and you see here inside it there's ISM, that's what it's called, image slider maker. So what I'll do is I'm just going to copy all these folders here and go back to the plugin folder here, sorry, the main plugin, inside assets, and paste over here. All right, so we have all the files we need in there. Cool. Now from there, now I can remove the zip folder because I don't need that anymore. And now inside here I have this example.html, which shows us how we should use that slider. So let's go back to slider and image slider, the example.html. So here it is. This is the example. That way you can run this from your computer. So the only part we really need is this part here. Let's see, generated with ISM. So just this div, you see from the div here, this is where each one of those images resides. So that's what we want. So let us copy this up to here. Copy. There's a main container here, I guess. Let me see. What does container do? Okay. Goes to the end. Okay. Yeah, no. I'm just gonna grab this here. Copy. Okay. So we have one view file in our plugin. So I'm going to go here. Where is this? View. Let me remove all of this, paste this instead. So I'm going to save. Back to the example HTML. Of course, we need the CSS and the JavaScript. So I'm going to grab these guys, copy, and also container is here, right? Left auto, margin right, blah, blah, blah. Padding top. Okay. I don't think we'll be needing those guys. So I will paste this here, like this. Interesting. Okay, so now we are back to our homepage. Let's see what we've got, right? So there we go. Our slider is this over here. Not very slider-ish, but that's because we don't have the right CSS to start with and the JavaScript. So now keep in mind that the only thing we need to do is show the right paths to those places. So there's ISM.js. So we've removed the content from this ISM here. Instead, what we want to do is, let me select this ISM here and instead put our plugin path. So I'm going to say plugin underscore HTTP. Too many T's there. HTTP path, like so. Then inside here I will put quotes like this and then close that. Okay, cool. Now I'm gonna grab this and put it there. Boom. I don't think we need this slash over here. Maybe we do. I'm gonna go come back to this if we do. Let's put those inside. Boom. Okay, so the HTTP path. Now this doesn't go directly. You see, the plugin HTTP path leads us to the plugin folder, but then we have to go inside assets, and that's where all these CSS and JS files are. So within here, I'm going to say assets slash like that. Okay, so let's see if anything at all has changed, and it seems it has. So now we have our caption, and it keeps moving from one of these to the next, just like that. So finally we have our slider. We just don't have the images, but the slider is here. And of course now we can just go ahead and delete that folder altogether. Let me come back here. So we have our slider plugin, but the image slider maker, we don't need you anymore. So delete. Oh, not deleting, are we? Let me try and delete this. Let me close this here. I'm going to try and delete it from here. Say delete. Delete. Oh, it is not deleting. Okay, I think it's being used somewhere. We may have opened some files somewhere, maybe here. This example HTML. I think my computer has actually frozen. Alright, so I had to restart my Sublime Text. It crashed. Alright, so let me try and delete this folder one more time. Hopefully I don't crash it again this time. Okay, so that folder is gone. We don't need that content anymore. Okay, so our slider is in progress. There we go. It loads just fine. The only thing it's lacking is the images. So let's see if we can pull those in as well. Remember, because we deleted it. Oh no, sorry about, not so sorry. I think the images are in here. There's images folder in here called image slides. Okay, so I did copy them luckily. So let's go ahead and link those as well. So in the view file, now you can change the view file to slider or something more appropriate, but this is fine. So in the same way we dealt with this, I want to deal with this as well. I'm going to do up to the slash here. So I'm going to copy that and select these babies here. Not like this. Let me do source up to here, like that. Okay. Use the arrow keys and paste. Then ISM should not be there, so I'm going to remove that and it's slash. Then press the end key to go to the end here, because just after the path here, I want to put a end quote, close bracket, and close PHP tag like this. This should show the original images that were there, like so. Okay, so there we have our slider plugin working perfectly. Now, just like this, if you don't want the hassle of having to add the admin section that imports images where we can swap out the images using a UI, you can simply have this and replace the images in the image folder here as you wish to actually add new images. You don't need the admin section. You can just do this manually every time you change, because these images don't change that often anyway on a website. And in that case, if you go that route, it means you don't need these folders like the migration, the controllers, and the models. So you can go ahead and delete those folders, which will make the plugin even smaller. Otherwise, let's continue in the next video where we create the admin section to this plugin.